going to gain what it is I ultimately need in Christ, not in any other way this time of year. So the very first thing you'll see in John 10 is the shepherd that knows his sheep. And you know, I've already told you, and you know this, his name is Jesus. He is our light this Christmas. He is our shepherd, our guide. He is what we need to see which way to go. In John 10:14, he says, I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. Look, it is very easy in this season to feel tired, to feel overwhelmed. Young parents, get it. Jesus meets that need by being your shepherd. The shepherd that knows you deeply, no matter what the weight is that you're carrying right now, no matter how kind of, flustered or flabbergasted or any of those emotions you may be feeling, the Lord knows you. He knows exactly what you are experiencing, and I want you to think about that for a minute. How amazing is it? How amazing is it that the creator of the universe knows you intimately, knows your needs, your desires, your wants, knows your fears and your troubles, and that thing that you've been overwhelmed with worry about. How amazing is it that he knows you? Matter of fact, he knows you so intimately, he knows the number of hairs on your head. This is a reminder about how God knows. Like, he knows, okay? In a way that is different beyond your deepest human relationship. Like, think about the person that you would say, oh no, I know them. I know the way they think. I know how they are. And it pales in comparison to the way that you are known by God. And listen, for me, and I hope for you, that brings me unbelievable comfort. Because God understands everything that I might be wrestling with. Everything that I'm struggling with, and in all the areas of my life where I might feel lack, Jesus understands that. And he is able, matter of fact, he is more than able to provide for me what it is I need. He is my shepherd. That means he is my guide. He will provide. N.T. Wright is a well-known scholar of the Bible. And he writes excellently, has some great books, some great thoughts. He explains this idea of biblical kingship being connected to shepherds and why that matters, why it is and was different than the idea of the ways that kings lived and ruled during that time that were not followers of the one true God. Their kingship looked very different than the kingship of somebody like David, like King David in the Old Testament. That kingship for David and others that followed God was modeled off the idea of the way a shepherd lived and cared for their flock. It's that kind of a leader that intimately cares for their people. And unlike many modern leaders or managers that manage from a distance, the shepherd is with the sheep, guiding, protecting them, caring for them. Jesus embodies that kind of closeness. So when the world demands, or when even your own self-conceived, or maybe even perceived, notions lead you down this path of thinking, I have to be perfect. This season has to be perfect. I have to meet the need of all the people around me. That's not real. That's not ultimately what God is asking of you, and it is not what is best for you. You cannot carry the weight of everybody, okay? You just can't. But God can, and he can. If we will point them to him and make sure we're grounded in him, he will give us what we need. And here's what we need. It's one word. Listen. Peace. Wouldn't that be really nice this season? If in the midst of everything you've got going on, when you really think about a want versus a need, you got lots of wants. But when you really think about the frustrations and the problems you might be having at home or in your work, in your personal life, in your relationships, What if, for Christmas, you could have peace? I don't know about you, but it sounds pretty good to me. And the truth of the matter is, the shepherd is the one that is more than able to give that to you. You say, how? Well, the more you know him, the more peace you get. That's how that works. Okay, but what does that really look like? Like, I know who Jesus is. I gave my life to Jesus, like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 50 years ago, but I still don't have peace. Okay, how much time are you spending getting to know him? How much time are you spending intimately with the shepherd? Because when you do that, you will gain peace. I promise you, you will gain peace. Doesn't mean you have peace in every aspect of your life. Doesn't mean your life will feel settled all the time. But it does mean you will have more peace with him than you would have going it on your own. That, I can guarantee you. What we need for Christmas isn't perfection, but to be known and loved by the Good Shepherd. And he has promised us his love if we'll come to him. This shepherd also provides us the access that we need to him, to God, to our Father in heaven. In John 10:9, it says, I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the gate. In ancient sheepfolds where they would keep the sheep, of course there was a gate in many cases, but sometimes there wasn't an actual gate. There was the shepherd laying across the entrance. So sometimes they would have a physical gate, and sometimes the shepherd themselves became the gate and literally just laid in the space to keep the sheep, which, by the way, are incredibly dumb. Sheep, if you don't know this about sheep, very dumb animals, and they just wander off, right? But the shepherd would lay in the gate to protect them, to keep watch over the flock. This is the imagery that Jesus shares with us so we'd actually understand the nature he has towards those whom he loves, which is you, which is me. He has a commitment to keeping us safe, providing us what we need, protecting us from those who would harm us. All the material things that we want for Christmas pale in comparison to that kind of a thing. He's the gate. And while you may face some temporary trouble, some temporary attacks, some temporary problems in this life, what it means to know the shepherd, and this is a really critical piece of this logic, what it really means to know the shepherd is that come what may, you can be assured that in eternity you are safe.